All right, hey guys, it's time for DIY on now because it's Thursday and we are continuing this plant stand. So we have this step and then one more step next week and we'll be done. So this step this week, we are making the shelf, one of the shelves that would go. So all the shelves will be identical. We're making 3 shelves in total and those shelves are going to be attached to the legs that we completed last week. All right, so what you'll need for today for this step, you would need 2 lengths of your 1x3 pieces. These are cut to 3 feet in length. You will need 9 pieces of 1x3 pieces, and these are cut to 16.5 inches. That 16.5 inches go to match the inside of this piece over here because it's going to span the same length as the brace. All right, so to start, you're going to need your drill and then you're going to need a power driver. You're also going to need 18 screws. These screws can be anywhere from 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. Today I'm using 1.25 inches. You don't need much more than that, but you definitely don't want to go anything 1 inch or less because it wouldn't go deep enough into your braces. All right, so we start. What you want to do is evenly space out your 3 foot lengths here of your 1x3. Then you're going to take one of the 16.5 pieces and go on the end. What you're going to do is match corner to corner, and from there you're going to drill your first holes. So you want to work on the ends first, and this is just going perpendicular to this right here. So once I get my corners together, I'm going to drill my pilot hole. The reason I'm using this second piece in the back here is to brace the back end of this at the same level so that I could apply pressure without having the risk of it slipping or falling off course. All right, so on my drill, I'm using a piercing drill bit here, and I'm just going to go on the end pieces. I'm going to drill two holes. And then on the middle pieces, I'll just drill 1 on each because it'll help me to save on screws as well. The reason I'm drilling 2 holes on the end pieces is so that it would anchor properly and wouldn't pivot at all when I'm actually assembling the piece. So now I drive my first screw in, and again, you just want to double check and make sure that your corners are lined up. All right, and any if it's out of line, make sure that you put it back. So you drive that one, followed by the second one you do there, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So as we continue here, just driving the second screw. Now what I want to do is do the same thing on the back piece. So in the back piece here, I'm just going to line up my corners again. Then with my drill, I drill my pilot holes. For those listening on Talk City 91.1 FM this morning, good morning to you. What I'm doing here, if I could describe in enough detail, is that I have a 3 foot length of pitch pine, and that pitch pine is 1 inch thick and 3 inches wide. What I'm doing here, one side is stood on its edge. That's my 3 foot length. It's stood on its edge, and I am drilling holes into a 16.5 inch piece that is put across it to create a brace. At this point, I'm going to drive these screws in, and then you're just pretty much going to rinse and repeat this part to make your first shelf. You're going to make 3 shelves in total. So next week when we come in, you would see those 3 shelves here, and then I'll show you finally how to attach these shelves to your legs. And once you attach them to your legs, your plant stand is done, and you could actually gain yourself some space to continue with your gardening that I know a lot of you have started. I've seen so many people in my local hardware store with going there to buy gardening supplies and starting their own gardening projects because I see that a lot of people are now motivated and have the time to take responsibility for their own food security. So having space to put your plant pots and make your nurseries and stuff, very, very important, especially in these times when you're not too certain of what the food situation would be like at any one point. So it's good that people are taking things into their own hands. And, especially as there are a lot of people who rent as well, you may not have an entire garden for yourself, and you may not have that type of space. So this is a simple solution here, well, kind of simple solution, that you can use to gain some more real estate when it comes to place to put your plant pots and your nursery and your planters and these things as well. So the first part on that side is anchored. I'm going to do the same on the back end. So as I continue here, just going to drill my pallet holes once more. And again, if you're not too sure about any one step, you could always recap the video. And if you're not too sure about lumber, when you go to your local hardware store, you could ask the clerks there who can give you more information on what you're going to buy and what best is used and such, so that just seek advice as you need it and you see fit, because it's better to ask a question than not to, and then you do the wrong thing and you put yourself in a position where you've wasted time and wasted material. Once you get to this step, you could then lay out all your other pieces. Now I mark these off myself. I put about 2 inches between each brace. So I mark them off on my brace over here, so that I know I have pretty much even spacing for all of them. So what you could do at this point is just line your pieces up, ensuring that you have equal spacing. And what you're going to do is just, as we were doing before, drill pilot holes to start, and then you can drive in your screws. These would only take 1 screw each. Again, as I said, I only brace the end pieces with 2 screws on each side, making it 4 screws for this one. So for these, you could just go with 1 in the center of each one here, and you could brace them successfully. So I'm going to continue that, and next week again, we're going to see 3 shelves completed. Then I'm going to show you how to attach these shelves to your legs. So I'm going to continue that, and that's a wrap for DIY on now. All right, good working.
All right, Carrie, that looks good, that looks really good. And what's the next step?
So the next step, so once I fasten all these braces here to this these end pieces, what's going to happen is that we're going to take these legs, and this is actually, I measured it to fit on the inside of this. So you're going to put it on the inside, and you're going to drill pilot holes again and screw in each shelf. So I'm using 3 shelves for these ones because I do want a little height between each one, so like that if my plants, give my plants some room to grow, and the plants that would grow the tallest, I'd put it on the top shelf so that there's no limit.
And especially now that everybody's growing their own, growing their own food, that's a very useful structure that you're making there.
Yeah, because again, as I mentioned, there are some people who they live in apartments, and they may not have a garden space outside that they're allowed to use or available to begin with. So some people, they have their little patio, their balconies, their little veranda in the front, and you can get some more space out of that, because even from my own experience at home, we started a little home gardening, and we have a back porch there. Now we have a yard, but we have dogs as well, so they go and they mash up everything.
All the plants,
So we're keeping it away from their reach. So we're using a little back balcony, but it's roughly the size of the set you're on right there.
Okay.
So by the time we put in about 12 plant pots, almost all the space is done.
Yeah, so you can go up now.
You can go up to get some more real estate.
Well, you're inspiring me, Carrie, as you always do.